Now on KGW Plus, what's next for the woman who was shot by Border Patrol in Southeast Portland after she pleaded not guilty to entering the U.S. illegally? We'll bring you the update.
And coming up at 7:30, millions of people preparing for snow and ice as a massive winter storm sweeps through much of the U.S. We'll have that coming up as Sunrise Streaming live at 7 starts right now.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us live at 7 o'clock. I'm China Green.
And I'm Matthew Herchick. Chris McGinnis has the day off, but Rod Hill's here with a look at the weather for us this morning. Happy Friday, Rod.
Happy Friday to you guys. Happy Friday to you at home. We had clouds last night, which means it's not as cold as it has been, but clearing has been taking place and really starting to pop in just the last 30 minutes in some areas. And that is allowing temperatures to do a little bit of a drop. Here's our Seaside live camera, and you can see that's clearing out nicely. Early morning number well above freezing though, 40 degrees. Still mainly cloudy over our state capital, but it has been down to 32 at times. So you folks might be dealing with some really light frost. It's now 35. But then you move up into Vancouver, so understand the clearing generally is dropping straight down from our north, and then we'll continue to work southward down the valley in the coming hours. So here it is, absolutely gorgeous now over the Columbia River from the Vancouver, the Springs of the waterfront camera, and we're down to 32. So again, maybe some light frost starting to take hold there. Clearing taking place for all of us this morning, 40 at noon, 46 degrees at 2. Still east winds, and they could still be gusting as high as 35 out near the gorge during the day today. China, Matthew?
All right, thank you, Rod. Well, we are continuing to follow breaking news in Hillsboro, where crews are battling a fire at a multi-unit apartment complex. Officials say this happened just before 4:30 this morning on Northwest Bailey Avenue. When crews arrived, they found fire and smoke in one unit. As of right now, no one has been reported injured, but crews are still checking for hot spots and making sure all people and pets are out of the building. No word just yet on how many people have been displaced, and it turns out the flames from this fire were so large that people nearby thought there was another fire.
Early into this fire, there was about a block down, there was a report that there was another fire. We had another crew check that out. It turned out that the flames from this building were visible from down the block. So another caller thought that the flames from this building were actually encroaching on a separate building. We confirmed that there's no other structures involved other than this one.
We've reached out to Hillsboro Fire and Rescue for more information. We will bring you an update as soon as we get more details.
Now to update to the woman shot by Border Patrol in Southeast Portland earlier this month. The Department of Justice confirms 32-year-old Yorlinis Zambrano Contreras has pleaded guilty to illegally entering the U.S. in 2023. She was sentenced to 1 year on probation, and she must stay away from areas where prostitution may be occurring. It's not clear whether she will face expedited deportation. Meantime, the man shot by Border Patrol, 33-year-old Luis Nino Mancada, has pleaded not guilty to aggravated assault on a federal officer and other charges. Investigators say Nino Mancada used his pickup truck as a weapon during the January 8th incident, ramming an unoccupied Border Patrol vehicle and striking an agent.
Oregon Senator Ron Wyden was in Newport yesterday to get a first-hand look at the rescue helicopter that is the center of a federal lawsuit related to President Trump's immigration policies. You may remember in October, the chopper was quietly moved some 70 miles south to North Bend. Then news surfaced that Homeland Security wanted to use the Newport land for an ICE detention facility, something the city pushed back on. Fishermen's wives, the county, and the state then sued the federal government to bring the helicopter back for safety reasons.
We understand that, having the helicopter here isn't an automatic that we're going to save every life that goes over, but it is such a great extra resource that really makes the difference.
In December, a federal judge ruled the helicopter must return to Newport. It's still unclear if the feds plan to move ahead with any kind of ICE facility in the area.
A school district in Minneapolis is accusing ICE of using a 5-year-old as bait amid the immigration crackdown there. School leaders say the boy and his father were detained in their driveway. Agents had the boy knock on the door to check if others were inside. DHS says that they were not targeting the child, but his father, who they say is in the country illegally from Ecuador. They say that the father tried to flee, but later asked to stay with his son. Both are now being held at an ICE facility in Texas. Meantime, Vice President J.D. Vance was in the Twin Cities yesterday, indicating that the Insurrection Act, meaning the military could be deployed, wasn't needed at this point. He then went on to say that he wants to turn down the temperature in Minneapolis and support federal law enforcement officers.
These people are under an incredible amount of duress, an incredible amount of chaos, and because of a few very far left agitators, a lot of these guys are unable to do their jobs without being harassed, without being doxxed, and sometimes without being assaulted.
Vance also pledged that ICE would not enter people's homes without a judicial warrant, despite an internal ICE memo obtained by the Associated Press that contradicts that.
The U.S. House passed a full-year funding package for Homeland Security and other agencies. One Republican opposed it, while 7 Democrats, including Congresswoman Marie Gluesenkamp-Perez, voted in favor. She said in a statement she couldn't in good conscience support shutting down FEMA or Homeland Security. Lawmakers also approved separate bills to prevent a partial government shutdown. The bills now go to the Senate.
A Portland woman is set to be sentenced this morning following a 2024 drunk driving crash that killed her 4-year-old son.
29-year-old Angelina Minor is now due in court this morning after disappearing while awaiting sentencing. Sunrise reporter Corey Johnson joins us live outside the courthouse with more details on the case. Corey.
Good morning, Matthew. China Minor pleaded guilty back in September of last year to several felony charges, including first-degree manslaughter. Now, at the time of the crash, in addition to her son being in the car, 2 children under the age of 5 and another adult were also present for that crash. According to PPB, the incident happened in 2024 when Minor was involved in a fender bender, but left before exchanging info with the other driver. That driver started following her. Minor then drove off and then drove over a median and into oncoming traffic before ultimately crashing with another car head-on. Her son later died of his injuries, and according to a court affidavit, Minor told medical staff she had a little to drink and that she was speeding during the time of the crash. Her blood alcohol level was more than 4 times the legal limit, according to police. And fast forward to December of last year, the Multnomah County DA's office said Minor violated her supervised release, and a warrant was then issued for her arrest. Then on January 5th of this year, the agency confirmed she turned herself in, and she's remained in the Multnomah County Jail ever since. In 2024, we spoke about the tragedy with those who knew her son, Kingston.
When you would walk in the room, he would run and hug you. He was just so happy and full of love.
This tragedy hits a whole lot differently. This is a young baby that we have lost.
Now in Oregon, a first-degree manslaughter charge is considered a Class A felony and carries a minimum sentence of up to 10 years in prison. Now keep in mind, Minor is also facing several other charges, including DUI as well as reckless driving, among others. She's set today in court for 9 a.m. China, Matthew.
Corey Johnson reporting live. Corey, thank you very much. Gresham police are asking for help as they search for a teenage suspect in a deadly shooting from 1 year ago. Police believe Camarino Vides, seen in this photo, shot and killed 17-year-old Jorge Vasquez in an unprovoked attack at Vance Park on January 23rd last year. They're asking anyone who knows where Vides is to call 911. Anonymous reports can also be made online.
I love Portland, but a metal detector or two, I think that will help.
The library is, I use it very seldom, but I felt pretty safe in there.
Multnomah County will not install metal detectors at the Central Library. Chair Jessica Vega-Peterson says that detectors wouldn't address main safety issues like substance use, homelessness, and mental health. The decision follows a deadly shooting and a later stabbing near the library last year, which Vega-Peterson discussed at Thursday's board meeting.
That included a feasibility study, which described a sizable initial and ongoing costs, as well as a physical reconstruction of the interior lobby entrance that would be needed to accommodate an electronic weapons detection.
The county says they've increased security officers at the library, limited Wi-Fi access only during hours of operation, and temporarily removed outside benches.
Turning to weather now, the city of Portland is extending its hours for several emergency overnight shelters because of the cold. Some shelters plan to stay open until 8 o'clock this morning, tomorrow and Sunday to help folks avoid some of the coldest hours. It is very chilly out there.
Very cold. There's other stuff going across the country. That's cold.
Yeah,
Very
our
messy everywhere, Rod.
Our cold has been due to the fact that the east winds brought in drier air. And one of the rules of Meteorology 101 is that when you have limited water vapor, meaning a dry air mass, and you have clear skies with no wind, that's when temperatures really drop off. That's what we've had. And we've been down a fistful of mornings to like 21 to 26 in the valley. Not seeing that this morning because we had cloud cover last night. But we'll be back to that 20 to 26 degree range again tonight into Saturday morning and potentially again into Sunday morning. After that, the weather pattern starts to really flip more off the Pacific. That means our nights will warm up, our days will warm up, and we'll get back into some rain eventually next week. Here's our Timberline Lodge camera this morning, really pretty above the cloud deck that we have, and 28 degrees. I think I'm correct when I say this is the first morning in about a week the Timberline has gotten down below freezing, which means that temperature inversion is over. And what that temperature inversion leads to will also start to end today. Mix of cloudiness out there this morning as we have clearing currently coming down from the north. We're going to be around freezing out the door, but not down into the 20s in most areas. 43 degrees at noon, a sunny day coming, 46 degrees, and the kids get out of school. Away from the gorge, winds will continue to be light. And here are those temperatures. We have some freezing spots. Battleground is 29, but Vancouver's 32. There's downtown Portland at 37, Wilsonville 36. Salem is above freezing currently at 35. It's 35 down into Albany. So again, in some cases, 10 to 12 degrees warmer than where we were 24 hours ago. Nice day coming up with the sunny skies clearing out all areas we think, including the gorge, including Central Oregon, including eventually out toward Pendleton. 47 later today in Salem, 50 degrees in Newport. 7-day forecast shows dry weather through the weekend. Becoming perfectly clear today in 46, perfectly clear tomorrow in 46 after the cold start, and then Sunday all dry with partly to increasing cloudiness in the afternoon. Back to you.
Thank you, Rod.
It's been real fun, especially in Hood River, because the whole town is behind him, the whole community.
Multiple teams have announced the athletes heading to the Winter Olympics, including several Oregon natives. Coming up, we're hearing from the family of Olympic snowboarders Sean Fitzsimmons.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus.
We are 2 weeks away from the Winter Olympics, and a couple of local athletes found out that they will represent Team USA.
Yeah, one of them just 17 years old. Jay Coulter learned more about them.
I was a nail biter right up to the end. He likes to keep things suspenseful, always has.
25-year-old Sean Fitzsimmons, a bit of a legend in Hood River after making it to the Beijing Winter Olympics in 2022. Now in 2026, he's headed to Milan.
Just Super excited for him. It's been a huge journey and a lot of ups and downs, some adversity that he's overcome, and just super stoked that he persevered and gets to do it again.
Sean broke his pelvis 2 years ago, which made for a long recovery, but bounced back quick enough to keep himself in the Olympic conversation.
It's a long process too. So Sean took third in a qualifying event, which was almost a year ago. So we knew he had a chance for the Olympics, a high chance for the Olympics, but he could have gotten bumped off at any time. So we had kind of this year of, is he going to go or not?
And this year, with a familiar face, 17-year-old Alessandro Barbieri making his Olympic debut this year. And Sean's parents say they've been watching him since he started.
Suggested to his dad that he should snowboard. At that time, Jen and I were the series director for the Mount Hood USASA series. And so I suggested he come up and try it out.
Just noticed really early that that kid was talented and super passionate, just like Sean, just super enthusiastic and just wanted to skate all the time.
Jen and Mike say the support Sean gets from Hood River is unbelievable.
It's been real fun, especially in Hood River, because the whole town is behind him, the whole community.
But as for Sean himself, his parents say they'll hear from him at some point.
Have you talked to him today?
He's on a mountain.
He's on a mountain. We haven't talked to him today.
He's training in Aspen right now. Yeah.
And there's another Oregonian on the roster. Hunter Hess locked in his spot for the free ski team thanks to a second place finish at an Aspen event 2 weeks ago. So congratulations to all of them. We will certainly be cheering them on.
And a reminder, the Olympics kick off Friday, February 6th with the opening ceremony at Milan. You can catch it right here on NBC and KGW.
Time for a check of the weather, and Rod Hill is with us with a look at that forecast. Rod?
Let's start with story time. China, tell your weather story from yesterday. Go ahead.
I was walking my dog and something hit me on the arm. I thought I got stung by something. And then I heard the noise and it was grapple, which is
little ice pellets kind of.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I heard that in the newsrooms. I didn't get to see any of that.
Yeah, we had some.
Or I just wasn't paying attention.
He didn't believe me.
I actually did.
He made me look so dumb. He was like, you didn't see that.
And then a viewer called and reported the same thing. I went, okay. I had sprinkles in my place. So remember grapple, some people say, we had hail, but you need convection to get hail. Remember, you have to have the water droplets bouncing back and forth in those cumulus clouds. Grapple is more based on kind of similar to sleet in a way, where you've got horizontal planes of freezing temperatures and the water droplet freezes around snowflakes and things like that. And that's what we had yesterday. Now, why is this important? Because it ended what we thought was a sure bet of breaking a record for consecutive dry days, meaning not even a trace of moisture for the month of January. Remember, the forecast yesterday was clouds coming in, yes. Said there could be some light rain or sprinkles around the coast. I didn't think we'd have it in the valley, we did. It was just a trace of moisture, but it ends that run for the record. So our run for January 2026, 10 days in a row, stopped on Wednesday, actually, of no precip at all. The record will remain of 13 days back in January of 1985. Our next chance of just a dab of moisture is Monday, and then the precip patterns look favorable back to being as early as Wednesday afternoon into next weekend as we start to get back into more of a typical Pacific flow. That will lead to warmer nights as well. So let's get you out the door on this Friday. My yellow lines, I'm highlighting the fact that we have kind of what I'm calling the wedge of clearing. We have clearing coming from north to south down into our area, and it's kind of rapidly starting to take hold. I do want to start with the clouds for you folks out in Wasco County. Your low yesterday was 31, your high was 34. This low cloud lockdown has been going on, 5 or 6 days, something like that. With the temperature inversion pattern that produces this totally gone, I do believe you will see gradual clearing today. So let's keep our fingers crossed. If you get sun, you'll be upper 30s and maybe even warm to 40 this afternoon. Here's a line of clearing and then cloudiness over the Reserve Vineyards and Golf Club out in Aloha. And here are the temperatures. We do have clearing now taking place in Kelso, where it's 28. Salem's 35, Portland's 36. Most of us have held above freezing because of the clouds overnight here in the valley. 23 over in Bend. It's also 23 out in Burns and Baker City. All right, so it's going to be a nice Friday. I think no later than, let's say, 10 o'clock this morning. Most of us will just be perfectly clear, maybe long before that. We'll get up to about 48 in Salem. Light winds away from the gorge. Some early light frost spots are a potential. Clearing skies in southwest Washington shows 47 Battleground, 46 Vancouver. The winds near the gorge are still there. 15 to 35 mile per hour gusts today. So, yeah, you're peak wind at Troutdale did stay under 40 yesterday. Here's the dry weekend on the 7-day. 46 today, clearing, perfectly clear tomorrow, 46. Partly cloudy to some increasing cloudiness on Sunday, but staying dry. Notice the overnight lows. We talked about this earlier, back down into the 20s for bitter cold stuff. The warming shelters will be open, and we'll be back in just a moment.
In a fiery hearing on Capitol Hill, former special counsel Jack Smith defended his past prosecutions of President Trump and said they had nothing to do with politics. I'm Alice Barr in Washington. Coming up, the latest details and how Republicans responded.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
Former special counsel Jack Smith is defending his investigation into President Trump in his first public testimony before Congress, as Republicans argue his actions were politically driven. NBC's Alice Barr has the latest from Washington, D.C.
Mr. Chairman, in a sometimes combative hearing on Capitol Hill, former special counsel Jack Smith standing by his past investigations into President Trump.
Our investigation developed proof beyond a reasonable doubt that President Trump engaged in criminal activity.
The two federal cases on the president's handling of classified documents and interference in the 2020 election results, both scrapped before he re-entered the White House. But Republican anger over what they believe was unfair targeting continues.
It was always about politics. And to get President Trump, they were willing to do just about anything.
Democrats rejecting that.
For us, it's all about the rule of law. And who's going to stand by the rule of law and who's going to oppose it.
While on social media, President Trump called Smith deranged and said, quote, hopefully the Attorney General is looking at what he's done.
Do you believe that President Trump's Department of Justice will find some way to indict you?
I believe that they will do everything in their power to do that because they've been ordered to by the president.
Smith adding,
I will not be intimidated.
Republicans also accuse Smith of spying on GOP lawmakers for seeking their phone records.
The egregious abuse of power.
Smith said the records that did not include content of calls were necessary to determine the president's contacts during allegations he sought to delay the January 6th election certification.
My office didn't spy on anyone.
Police officers injured defending the Capitol on January 6th were in the room and visibly frustrated throughout the hearing. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Now to your morning rush. The White House is facing backlash after sharing an altered image of a protester who interrupted a church service in Minnesota. The original photo was posted by Kristi Noem, showing Nikema Armstrong with a calm expression. The White House later shared a version that appeared to show Armstrong crying and confirmed the image had been altered. Armstrong's attorney called the edit quote outrageous defamation. As FEMA prepares for the winter storm, it's halting the layoffs of disaster workers whose contracts were set to expire soon. According to CNN, sources familiar with the decision say the looming storm was the main reason for the job cuts that were paused. It's unclear how long that pause will last. Sources say about 300 disaster workers were already let go this month. The U.S. House of Representatives has passed a full-year funding bill for the Department of Homeland Security. The 220 to 207 vote approves a $64 billion package that also funds FEMA and the U.S. Coast Guard through the end of the fiscal year. Lawmakers also passed separate bipartisan funding bills for other agencies to help avert a partial government shutdown on January 31st. The bill now heads to the U.S. Senate. And the U.S. and China have signed off on a deal that hands control of TikTok's operations in the U.S. over to a group of investors backed by President Trump. In a statement, TikTok said the company will in part, quote, operate under defined safeguards that protect national security. ByteDance, TikTok's Chinese owner, will retain a nearly 20% stake in U.S. operations. And that is your Morning Rush.
That pedestrian drew a gun extremely quickly. He clearly knew his way around weapons.
Coming up in our next half hour, we're hearing from a man who says he saw 2 Portland police officers get shot earlier this week. And we have a look at the movies nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars, including one film that made Oscar nomination history. Don't go anywhere. Sunrise continues after this.
We have now issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yes.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW+. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW+. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW+. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
Good morning on a Friday. I'm meteorologist Rod Hill. Happy to share with you we are not as cold here on the west side this morning as what we have been seeing the last few starts. We are also in a clearing pattern. The clearing's coming down from the north. So here's Seaside, clearing out beautifully, 38 degrees. But if you drop down to Lincoln City, the clearing hasn't arrived yet. It's still overcast, but it will. You folks will clear out as well. Beautiful look from our Chehalem tasting room camera out in Sherwood, looking out above some low clouds in the gaps. We're at 36 out in Portland. Some of you are at freezing, and there may be some light frost around, but think about yesterday. it was basically 20 to 26 at this time. 43 degrees at noon with clear skies coming. We'll get up to about 46 for a high, then 43 at 5 o'clock. Your weekend looks good. We are dealing with more really cold nights, so I've got 25 in Portland Saturday morning and Sunday morning. Clear tomorrow, partly cloudy, increasing clouds on Sunday. Monday could be a day like yesterday with some traces of moisture under cloudy skies. And then perhaps we finally get back into more of a rainy pattern starting Wednesday afternoon.
Good morning. We are taking a live look at the sunrise from our Vancouver waterfront sky cam. It looks very pretty, but it doesn't look like it should be, I don't know, January 23rd.
Yeah.
It looks clear.
Beautiful.
And it looks beautiful, and that's usually not what we describe this time of year.
So you're not complaining. I'm trying to follow
No.
along. You're happy?
No, because I have a dog now and I have to walk it.
I've been here since last Monday and I still haven't seen a drop of precipitation.
Isn't that crazy?
It's incredible.
That is, I mean,
Everybody said be prepared to not see the sun until the summer, and I mean, I've seen it almost every day.
So our weather patterns are they're hinged on typically a west flow off the Pacific.
Right.
We get clouds, we get rain. But when you get an east flow pattern, we dry out and it's like there's no water or ocean even near us. Matthew, the rain's coming.
Maybe I'm the good luck guy.
Maybe so.
Okay.
Here's a look at our live sky camera. Salem, mostly cloudy. Clearing is coming your way. Again, the story right now is we have clearing coming down from the north that in the coming hours will make it all the way down through the valley. Currently 35 degrees. Earlier it was 32, so there may be some light frost pockets in Marion County. Good morning to you. Here's Portland, and we are now starting to see some clearing over the city. That's a baby blue sky slowly emerging. We're above freezing out of PDX 36. We'll be perfectly clear at noon 43. I have the high today getting up to 46. East wind still with us, and they've been gusting to about 30 this morning out near the gorge. That will continue today. The rest of us will see light winds. Back to you.
Thank you, Ron. Portland police have released new photos of the man they say shot and wounded two Portland police officers earlier this week. And now Crime Stoppers is offering up to a $2,500 reward for any information leading to an arrest in this case.
This morning, we're also hearing from a witness who saw the whole thing unfold. Catherine Cook has the story.
This is the man Portland police say shot two officers Monday night. They released more images Thursday, hoping someone would recognize him. He's described as a white man in his mid-30s with facial hair. Minutes before the shooting, flashing police lights caught one neighbor's attention.
Just a chaotic night, obviously.
For safety reasons, he asked that we only use his voice.
A bullet struck my home that was, about 2 to 3 feet from the window that I was, watching everything unfold from.
The view from his window, Northeast 17th and Clackamas. As he watched, he says the officers talked with the suspect, a man accused of threatening someone with a knife. A few minutes later, the witness says a second police car showed up. He says the officers talked with the man for a couple more minutes, then stepped toward him.
I assumed they were going in to attempt to arrest him, and at that point, that pedestrian drew a gun with, extremely quickly. He clearly knew his way around weapons, and he fired off 4 to 5 shots.
With two police officers down, the witness says the gunman sprinted away. He says officers on scene didn't return fire or chase the suspect. Instead, police say dozens of other officers, including the CERT team, responded. They set up a perimeter and began an hours-long search, but couldn't find the suspect.
But it was shocking to see. You never expect to see that right outside your house.
Catherine Cook, KGW News.
A now former TriMet employee is facing criminal charges for allegedly pepper spraying a group of teens. Court documents say the incident happened in August as teens were leaving a parking garage at the Gresham Central Transit Center. Employee Stephen Hollinghurst allegedly sprayed pepper spray into their car after a verbal dispute. He first told dispatchers that he was being assaulted, but later said that he was only threatened and used the spray in self-defense after one of the teens threatened to kill him. A warrant has been issued for his arrest.
I think losing a parent, especially your mom at any age, is hard, whether you're a child or in old age.
Two families are mourning a tragic accident on a hiking trail in the Olympic Mountains. 1 week ago, 70-year-old Christine Muchler and 76-year-old Kathy Pickard were hiking with a friend. That's when deputies say a dead evergreen snapped near its base and fell across the trail, hitting and killing both hikers. The friend survived. And rescue crews now have recovered the bodies of two climbers from Mount Rainier. The National Park Service says 35-year-old Ben Watson and 50-year-old Yuri Richter were found on Tuesday in the Wilson Glacier area about 9,600 feet up the mountain. Family and friends had not heard from them since Saturday. The Pierce County medical examiner will determine how they died.
Prosecutors say the man in this video broke into a home just days before Christmas, armed with a gun to steal gifts meant for children. The suspect, identified as Alan Easley, faces 2 indictments and multiple charges connected to a series of burglaries during last year's holiday season.
I saw it and I thought, no, this has to stop, right? No one should be stealing someone's Christmas presents with a firearm in their hand 5 days before, ever, but let alone 5 days before Christmas.
The DA's office says that there may be more victims. This arrest is part of Multnomah County's burglary task force announced a couple of months ago.
A Beaverton business owner will spend more than 3 years in federal prison after prosecutors say she laundered money for drug traffickers in Mexico. The feds say 40-year-old Brenda Orentes owned La Popular stores in the Portland Metro. Over a 4-month period in 2024, they say she sent over $4 million through wire transfers to places in Mexico associated with drug trafficking for a 10% cut. Prosecutors say she was in the U.S. illegally from Guatemala.
Christmas may be over, but many people are still paying off their holiday gifts. That's because more shoppers are using the buy now, pay later option.
Yeah, but new data shows its popularity has grown compared to previous years. But the question is it really the smartest way to pay? Sunrise reporter Corey Johnson joins us live with what consumers need to know. Corey?
Well, Matthew, China convenience may come at a cost. According to new data from several consumer analytics companies, people are now struggling more than they have been in the past to keep up with buy now, pay later payments, many missing the deadline, and that's actually becoming a little bit more common. Now, according to Wallet Hub, the plans are more popular among adults under 40 and those with credit scores under 620. Data from Lending Tree shows 41% of those who use the service say they've been late on payments in the past year, and that's up over 30% from the year before. A recent Experian survey also found 43% of shoppers use the option during the holiday season, so it's widely popular, and people aren't choosing these plans only once. They're increasingly using multiple plans on larger payments as well. And so credit card experts with NerdWallet say it's important to not overlook the risks that are associated with these types of plans, including a potential ding to your credit score.
We do see that 19% of Americans who've taken out buy now, pay later loans have paid some form of late fee or interest on their plans because of missed or late payments. And so, it's not a majority, but it is a significant enough number just to, for people to realize how these plans can hurt you. And they are so easy to enter into.
Now, coming up at 8, we talk more with NerdWallet financial experts about what you need to know if you're already in a buy now, pay later plan and you may be falling behind, or if you're considering starting one, what you should know in advance before you sign on the dotted line. Matthew, Jenna.
Corey Johnson reporting live. Thank you, Corey. A huge winter storm is closing in on the U.S. Dozens of states from New York to Texas are facing winter advisories and warnings. Reed Binion reports.
You think about travel, you think of the dangers outside. This, like you were saying, this is a triple impact.
A menacing storm with a massive footprint is set to hit more than half of the country with a potentially historic blast of ice and snow.
Half the country's population is going to see some sort of winter weather impacts.
Some areas in the storm's path already dealing with crippling conditions. It all starts Friday in the plains, where the storm's massive pool of moist air begins to clash with Arctic air. Bone-chilling temperatures pushing the storm eastward.
We have about 70,000 tons of salt ready to go in our 275 plows.
Major cities in the Northeast could get their largest snowfall in at least 4 years. That includes New York, where officials are mounting a massive battle plan to prepare all 5 boroughs. Southern states are bracing for destructive ice from freezing rain, the storm's most serious threat. one that could cause extended power outages.
It's just entirely premature for them to be able to know how many people will lose power.
Ice could also make roads very hazardous.
Latest forecasts show a widespread event that's likely to spread ice throughout the state of North Carolina.
Air travel will also likely be impacted. Airlines including American, Delta, Southwest, and United have put out travel advisories and are letting customers rebook or cancel travel scheduled over the next several days. I'm Reed Binion reporting.
It's time for a look at the weather. Here's Rod Hill.
This is an unusually, guys, large storm. And it really, so often you listen to the news. It's, oh my gosh, we've got the storm from coast to coast. And then the reality is it's like the Great Lakes is getting snow. So this time around, I really want to go out of my way to make you understand, if you are traveling, this is unusually widespread. It literally will impact areas, with the exception of Florida and some of the southern half of the Gulf Coast states, the entire nation east of the Rocky Mountains. We don't see that often. Stage one of this is the cold air dropping down. These are current temperatures this morning. 20 below in Fargo, 19 below in Minneapolis. It's 11 below in Chicago. Now the moisture will start streaming across New Mexico and Texas later today, and then over the weekend make its way up through Ohio and all the way up into New York. And I'll show you Futurecast on that coming up in just a little bit. But for right now, here's what I'm talking about, the widespread scope. These are the warning areas from the National Weather Service. The pinkish tones from New Mexico through Texas into Ohio into western Pennsylvania, winter storm warnings where snow accumulations are generally anywhere from a half a foot to over a foot. And there will be icing mixed in some areas, and especially icing mixed in across places like Arkansas. We heard that one gentleman in North Carolina talking about the freezing rain threat. It's not so much precip up north in like Minnesota, but extreme cold where wind chill factors could reach as low as 35 degrees below zero. This will impact air traffic possibly across the entire country because of everything becomes a domino impact over the weekend. Check your conditions. Hey, Mom, look, no frost on the grass at Canvas Meadows Golf Course this morning. That means we are warmer than what we have been seeing. Temperatures in Portland right now holding above freezing at 36 degrees. And our forecast for today does take us up into the 40s. Quick look at your current numbers. 34 in West Lynn. It's been above freezing in Salem lately, 35. But earlier this morning, you folks were down to 32. But this is not the bitterly cold start that we've had really the last couple of weeks. Our 7-day forecast, if I can get my maps to change. Is it going to change for me? Yep, there it comes. 46 today, 46 tomorrow, 46 Sunday. Don't forget, we get back to those cold 20s tonight and again Sunday morning. That's your update.
Thank you, Rod.
The kindness of strangers, you know. People write handwritten checks still and put them in envelopes with a little note and hand address them and sent them to us.
Those working at a tribal radio station in Warm Springs are feeling relieved after worrying that they might have to shut down. 6 months ago, KWSO was dealing with federal cuts that wiped out 40% of its annual funding. First, the station received donations. Then the Bureau of Indian Affairs covered lost revenue for a year. Now, a foundation with Oregon ties is giving KWSO $500,000 over 3 years.
I definitely think my narrative changed from like a doom and gloom and poor us to, you know, okay, I think we're going to be able to continue to do the things to now, you know, well, let's see what else we can do.
In addition to the donations, the station manager says public support has made her feel like the station is truly making a difference.
Everyone in this auditorium was cheering for that.
Movie fans celebrating after one film broke Oscars history with the most nominations ever. Which films are up for Best Picture? Coming up when Sunrise continues in just 2 minutes.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
have now issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yes.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW+.
Sinners. Zinzi Kugler, Sev Ohanian, and Ryan Kugler, producers.
Well, this was the moment the movie Sinners made history with the most Oscar nominations ever, 16 in all, including Best Picture. But the movie faces some big competition from 10 other films for Best Picture. Mark Barger has reaction to some of the major nominees.
Listen here, this ain't no house party. But everyone associated with Sinners had reason to celebrate this morning. A record-breaking 16 Academy Award nominations, including Best Picture, Best Director for Ryan Coogler, and Best Actor for Michael B. Jordan.
Seeing Michael B. Jordan getting nominated for his work in Sinners, everyone in this auditorium was cheering for that.
The showing for Sinners sets up a likely Best Picture showdown with one battle after another, which earned 13 nominations.
It's not cards, you don't roll cards, it's dice.
It's going to depend on the next month or so of campaigning to see which of those two movies is actually going to emerge victorious.
One battle also produced a Best Director nod for Paul Thomas Anderson, as well as supporting acting nominations for Tiana Taylor, Sean Penn, and Benicio del Toro. Leonardo DiCaprio earned one for Best Actor.
You want to get physical? Like an 8?
That could mean a head-to-head with Timothée Chalamet, whose Marty Supreme is also up for Best Picture.
If you look at the winners over the years, it's usually younger women and older men, by and large. I think if there's anyone who could break that trend, it is Timothée Chalamet.
That place in your head is now more real to you than anywhere else.
Golden Globes winner Jessie Buckley is among the Best Actress nominees for Hamnet, which also scored a Best Picture bid. So did Begonia, with Emma Stone among Buckley's Best Actress rivals.
That I'm not a housewife, I work too.
Globes winner Rose Byrne is also in there for If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, as is Kate Hudson for Song Sung Blue.
Kate Hudson, again, is this golden child of Hollywood. Everyone loves her, but I do think it's Jessie Buckley's to take home.
The awards will be handed out March 15th. Mark Barger, NBC Entertainment.
Wow. I'm talking to our producer in her ear, and she confirms that Wicked, which I think was one of the bigger box office hits of the entire year, right?
Yeah.
Didn't get any nominations. Michaela says nothing.
Yeah, I read that it's not entirely uncommon when it's part of a sequel. Like usually the original, because it was a two-parter. I don't know, and they got all the awards last time around.
I don't know that world.
But that Sinners movie, that was the entire talk of my previous news. Everybody had seen it. Loved that movie and saw it. And
I saw it too.
Great.
Yeah,
record breaking.
It definitely. we're not going to divulge anything if you want to see it, but it definitely starts one way and finishes another.
Yeah, right.
I think we can tell you that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I'm intrigued.
All right, got to watch it.
I'll never watch it though.
Got to keep up with the guys, China. Come on, keep up with the guys. We've seen it.
Okay.
All right, I want to get back to that national story, and this is. I showed you the temperature map again. Stage 1 is the cold air is coming down. 6 in Denver right now, and then Stage 2 will be the precip. So here's the Futurecast movie that I promised you, and understand, even if you're flying from Portland to LA this weekend, this storm is so big, it's possible that it could have a domino effect impacting flights everywhere across the country. So just go out of your way to double check flight information and weather forecasts, especially out east. Here's this evening. Now here's the storm starting. The blue in Kansas and Oklahoma is snow, but the pinkish tones are sleet and freezing rain, mostly freezing rain down in North Texas. And then watch this freezing rain slide into Tennessee and parts of northern Georgia. Here is Saturday evening. That's almost all of Arkansas getting freezing rain. It is typical. It's typical that when these moisture flows that feed these storms come this way from the southwest and then work their way across the southern tier, that you get really bad ice storms in places like Arkansas. This shows it's snow across mostly Missouri, Illinois, Indiana. There's all of Ohio getting snow Sunday morning, all of Pennsylvania, and into New York City getting some snow. There's Atlanta, maybe a touch of some icing, but it looks like it's mostly going to be rain there. And Florida gets left out of this as well with just some thunderstorm lines coming through, it looks like Sunday evening on Futurecast. Again, the areas that get snow, a lot of them are anywhere from 6 to 14 inches. And the areas that get ice, like Arkansas, parts of Tennessee into North Carolina, could have enough for significant power outages, et cetera, et cetera. So check details. Hey, earlier I showed you the shot, and I mentioned it's clearing from north to south this morning, which it is. Seaside's clear. This was overcast, but now the clearing is starting to work down into Lincoln City from our Chinook Winds Casino Resort camera there. And we're starting to brighten up, so it won't be long before these clouds really start to break up for you folks down in Salem as well. We are now sunny over Portland. Temperature map. It is cold up in Kelso. Again, the clearing came down from the north. So Kelso, you've been in the clear the longest, and that's why you had a chance to dip into the 20s. But Portland 36, Salem 35, 32 in the Dow, still overcast. I do believe you folks in Central Oregon and the Gorge and the Columbia Basin will eventually clear today. The temperature inversion that produced your low cloud lockdown is completely gone. You should be seeing some clearing eventually. It's going to be a beautiful sunny day in the valley. Salem all the way up to 49 degrees, light winds away from the gorge, but near the gorge, we still have the easterlies 15 to gusting to 35 miles per hour today. Again, everybody's clearing out. A dry weekend, clear tomorrow, partly cloudy Sunday. Don't forget about the cold temps returning. 25 in Portland tonight, 25 again Sunday morning. Hey, we could get back to rain at some point next week. I know it's not believable at this point, is it? But that's the forecast. Back to you.
Thank you, Rod. A new year means new insurance requirements as deductibles reset. Coming up in 2 minutes, we have a look at some things that you can do to help reduce the cost in today's Healthier Together. Stay with us. Sunrise streaming live at 7 continues after this.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
We have now issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yeah.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW Plus.
Healthier Together, sponsored by Regents Blue Cross Blue Shield of Oregon.
Well, it's a new year, which means it's time to take a look at your insurance. Many of us know our deductibles reset, but even if you have the same coverage, health officials say it's a good idea to take a look at your policy because sometimes benefits and requirements change. Also, don't forget about the tools that can help predict costs. And speaking of costs, here are a couple of other things to consider.
In general, getting your imaging, x-rays, CAT scan, MRI done at a standalone center as opposed to a hospital-owned center usually is less expensive. So that's something to look for.
Some screenings, like for colon cancer or mammograms, are covered 100%. Dr. Mude also says having a primary care physician is helpful in streamlining your health care.
An Oregon couple is sharing their incredible tale of resilience after the mom gave birth to premature twins on the highway on Christmas Day. Zachary Johnson and Lexi Armstrong were taking the next step in their lives together, moving from Portland to North Dakota. At 25 weeks pregnant, Lexi thought they had plenty of time to get there before the babies arrived, but life had other plans.
I told Santa Claus, I said, I just want this pregnancy to be a little bit easier on me the night before Christmas. And Christmas Day, I ended up delivering both babies because I'm a small girl. So carrying two babies was definitely rough.
Their son was born in the car, and they were rushed to the hospital where Lexi had an emergency C-section to deliver their baby girl. As micro preemies, each of the twins only weighed around 1 pound.
They tell us all the time that they're champions, that they're doing way better than babies prematurely at their age usually do. And for coming out in the cold the way that he did, they would expect a lot more complications than they've had, that's for sure.
Zachary and Lexi have been spending every second they can with their babies in the hospital. You can find their full story up right now on KGW.com.
The Portland Winter Lights Festival kicks off in 2 weeks, and leaders hope that you'll consider making a weekend of it by staying downtown. Main events run February 6th through the 8th and 13th through the 15th. Major displays will be at Pioneer Courthouse Square, the World Trade Center, and the electric blocks in Southeast. Smaller setups will also appear in neighborhoods and business lobbies.
We have intentionally designed this festival to really move people around our city. We're not interested in people just coming and going home. We want you to explore.
During the festival weekends, the city is also hosting a staycation celebration with dozens of downtown hotels offering special deals. You can find details at portlandstaycation.com.
Coming up at 8, KGW Sunrise continues live on KGW Plus with this week's Let's Get Out There.
Yeah, how you can be a part of a sweet operation at the Oregon Maple Project.
The KGW Plus TV